Welcome back to Island Dream for Battle. So for some stupid reason, 5 out of the 7 remaining players sent in confessionals. That's quite a bountiful amount. Let's see them. Really, Eddie? Really? Actually, forget it. Let's move on to the challenge results. The first order of business is to figure out what the 5 rules of making friends actually meant, since they were unclear. So the first rule was strong friendships are the best. This is pretty easy to figure out. You don't want to be friends with someone who isn't friends with you in return, so the first rule is to be friends with someone who is friends with you. Rule 2. Make sure nobody feels lonely was a lot less clear. It could mean a lot of things, but for this challenge, it means don't let anyone have no friends or enemies. And by that I mean, everyone has to be named at least once for friend or enemy. Rule 3 was show your enemies no forgiveness, and that simply means don't befriend anyone who is enemies with you. Doing so would reflect poorly on your ability to know who likes you and who doesn't. Rules 4 and 5 were about what the group thinks as a whole. It's simply saying that you should try to be enemies with the person who has the most friends, but don't be friends with the person who has the most enemies. So among these 5 rules there are 2 things that you should try to do and 3 things that you should avoid doing. Next, we need to know how many times everyone was named. Remember, anyone who isn't named gets an advantage due to Rule 2. Well, it looks like everyone was named at least once, so Rule 2 won't have any impact on who wins, and everyone is on even ground. Next, Apple clearly has the most enemies, but Apple is also tied with Tree for the most friends. Since Tree has fewer enemies, he'll be declared the most popular person. Okay, so that means Rule 4 is now be enemies with Tree and Rule 5 is don't be friends with Apple. But wait, nobody listed Tree as their enemy. That means nobody successfully completed Rule 4. But remember, Tree can't name himself as his enemy, so he shouldn't get deducted any points for it. So Tree is at 2 points while everyone else is at just 1. As for Rule 5, don't be friends with Apple. 2 people did, so everyone else gets a point. And those 2 people were Tree and Non-Existy, so now Non-Existy is at 1 point, while everyone else is at 2. As for Rules 1 and 3, it depends on each individual contestant. Let's see who everyone listed as their friend. So it looks like Apple and Tree are friends, so they both successfully completed Rule 1. Aggie and Belle are also friends with each other. All 4 of them pass Rule 1 and get a point. Now let's see who everyone listed as their enemy. Well, isn't that interesting? As you can see, Apple listed Non-Existy as her enemy, meaning Non-Existy is the only person who doesn't score a point for Rule 3. And these are the final scores. Apple, Belle, Aggie, and Tree all have a final score of 4 out of 5, so they're the winners of the challenge, and the other 3 players are up for elimination. And strangely enough, it seems like Rule 1 was the only rule that really mattered in this challenge. So now it's time for voting. Viewers, vote for either Nickel, Grassy, or Non-Existy to be eliminated from the battle. The one who receives the most votes will be out of the running for the grand prize. Okay, bye now.